When fishing for pre-spawn crappie, I like to choose smaller lakes that can be covered in a day on a kayak. Arrowhead Lake off of exit 59 on Interstate 57 fits the bill perfectly. It's a small campground lake that has a healthy fish population of multiple species and rarely disappoints. Arrowhead is your typical small-town reservoir which was used for Johnston City's drinking water decades ago. It lies east of the city, nested to the north of the city park, and has a nice little campground sitting off to the east. The boat ramp lies on the southwest corner next to the dam, which runs the width of the lake on the south side and where the majority of the deeper water is, with the two outreaching arms being the shallow flats. I chose to begin the fishing trip along the eastern banks as they would be the warmest due to the western sun heating it up to the optimal spawning temperatures the previous days. These flats are quite shallow but do access a little bit deeper water in case temperatures fall and pause the rush to the banks.
Nothing wrong with that fish right there. That is a beauty. Absolute beauty. See ya. Guys, keep the bait still. Guys, keep the bait still. Let the wind do the work, let the jig do the work. Well, that is a fighter. I don't even know if that's a crappie. I don't think it is. I think it's a catfish. Oh no, it's just a monster crappie. Holy cow, look at that one. You'll notice I left that cork just sitting there. Got down to her. That fish is well over a pound. Shelton's fuzzy tail. Big crappie. See you later.
The main defining feature of this lake that you'll notice is the long tapering point, which would be the main lake point. To the east side on the bank, there's a few deeper logs, a few trees, and probably 4 to 6 foot of water, which I had no success in. Once you cross around the point, you actually come up to the other arm. It contains a lot of moss on the eastern side of the bank, but then once you get over to the western side, it's more of a clay bank with a little bit of drop off and some more submerged logs.
Black crappie. Those are pretty fish, man. Those are really pretty fish. Now that I'm in a little bit less wind, I'm actually having to do a little bit of the popping. What I'll do is, if you can see this, I just want this cork to stand up like this. That's why I love this cork. If I could just get it to do that right there, that minnow is down there, that jig is down there just dancing around perfectly. And it's staying in one place, enticing those fish. It's the same concept as if it was in the wind. When you're in calmer water, you have to actually mimic it a little bit yourself. So remember that. You get in a little calmer water, you need to be doing a little bit of the action, but just a little goes a long way. Less is more with this jig, I promise you. When I tell people this is the easiest jig on earth to fish, I mean it. Little action. It's not a big fish. But we'll get into the big ones later on. I'll jump back in the kayak. Now watch what I do here. All I do is I lift up my pole and I try to dance it in one spot. I want it to stay in almost the exact same spot that it's in. Then I'll let it rest for a second. There it goes. See? It's really that simple. You let it pause, the fish will commit to it, and you'll end up with crappie. Easiest jig on earth to fish. Okay, why does marabou work so well? Marabou, unlike deer hair, buck hair will flare out whenever it hits the bottom usually. That's why bucktail jigs are so good whenever you're fishing for bass out on ledges. Marabou will just sit there and do this on its own. You don't have to do anything to it. The less action the angler provides, the better off the jig is. It's exactly like a minnow. When you're throwing a minnow, you don't just throw that minnow out there and just start working it and doing whatnot with it like you do with a plastic. When you're using a marabou jig, it's the exact same concept as a minnow. Leave it in place. You can move it a little bit if you have to. Especially, you know, if you're in a general area and you haven't gotten bit after about 20 seconds, move it 15 yards. Perhaps your fish are in a little bit different location. But I just throw out there next to that limb. I'll let it sit there for a few seconds. I can set up to 20 seconds. You don't have to go too crazy with it. And then I'll just try to pick up on it, dance it a little bit, as if a minnow was down there swimming. Dance it a little bit more. You don't get bit, you just move it down. You're gonna know pretty quick if the fish are there or not. And as soon as you quit paying attention, that's when they're gonna bite. See if we can get him again to bite. Just leave it still. Dance it. Leave it. Dance it a little more. Leave it. Dance it. Leave it. No dice, no problem. Next spot. It's a good black crappie right there. Just leave it still. Man, he hit it good too. Well guys, we're about to finish it up. Wind's finally laid down a little bit. We've had mostly cloudy skies, a little bit of sun. Caught a lot of fish, caught some nice fish. We're still in a pre-spawn. Another week or so, these fish will be spawning out, and they'll be really aggressive in a couple weeks. Those males will get very defensive of their nest. When that happens, it's on. Little Arrowhead Lake here in Johnston City, Illinois. Can't recommend it enough. Got a beautiful campground, awesome trails, really nice boat ramp, and it's just a great place to take your family, come out and fish, and enjoy yourself. This lake, it's Saturday night, it's 15 minutes before dark, and this lake is still crowded. I bet you there's 50 people out here. Just out fishing, out walking. Just one of those places. I've enjoyed bringing you all this video, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well. Stay tuned for the next one.